Hello again and welcome to Shed Talk, my weekly magazine video series looking at the keeping, breeding and showing of cage birds with a special focus, as always, on the exhibition style budgerigar. Although in this episode we will have a look at the budgerigars. In fact, what we're going to do is find some new partners for the birds in cage number 4 and cage number 6. So we'll have a look at those. But we will also have a look at the first of the Fife pairs that I'm hoping to pair up later on in the year. It's still a bit early. I'm still gradually increasing the lighting out there, but we will have a look at the Fifes as promised in the last episode. I hope those of you that have been commenting about the not seeing the Fife so much will be pleased with we got the Fifes out. Anyway, we will have a look at those, but as I say, the first thing we will do is find some new partners for those two birds that are on their own in those two cages. As always, if you do enjoy the episode, don't forget to hit the like button, and thanks for all those people who liked the last video. And as I said in the last video, you know, the number of likes affect the number of views, and the last time I looked, I think it was something like 38 likes and the views were above average. So there we go, it is right. So please do hit the like button. If you're not yet a subscriber to the channel, please do subscribe. We're very nearly at the 1,500 subscribers that I was hoping to get to. Like I say, I am only a small channel, so all the extra subscriptions do help. I think I'm about 4 off the last time I looked, although it does vary a little bit with new subscribers and those people who unfortunately unsubscribe to the channel. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get the a couple of new birds out, and we'll have a look at who the new partners are for these spare birds. So this is the new pair for cage number 4. The hen has been in the cage a little while, so and we know that she can produce, so that's good news. And we found her a new partner, which is this cobalt cockbird, who's only just got, I've only just caught him out of the flight, so he's not settled particularly well. These two are related. They have the same distant grandfather, so they're sort of, I suppose, half brother and sister almost, if that make, I'm sure that doesn't make sense anyway. So they have got some ancestors with a, like I say, their grandfather, so, but in terms of their inbreeding coefficient, it's going to be about 18%, so not too bad. The hen, we've seen this hen before. Like I say, she's got some quite nice feathering coming down off the top of the beak, around the top of the cere. Not the biggest of spots, but is quite a wide bird, so she's got quite big broad shoulders on her. She sits quite low on the perch, but a very wide neck, so a nice strong looking hen. The cockbird, although, like I say, at the moment not doing particularly well in terms of wing carriage, normally better than that. Hopefully when he settles, or if he settles before we put him into the breeding cage, you'll see him at his best. He is a longer looking bird, slightly bigger spots, although not massively so, and has quite a lot of blow across the top of the head, reasonable width between the eyes, not quite as good as hers, but reasonable width. I think because he's a longer bird, he looks narrower, if that makes sense. So in terms of proportion, he's not that much narrower than she is, but because he's a longer bird, he tends to look narrower, and he stands up reasonably well off the perch. So hopefully these two will complement each other. And with them being reasonably closely related, we will get a decent offspring from them. And with them both being dark factor, we've got a cobalt and a dark green here. It's, you know, we're almost certainly going to get dark factor birds out of these. We may get some mauves, so some double dark factors, so some mauves, and we may get some very dark greens. The hen is split for blue, so we could get some blues off them, like I say, some mauves off them. So there we are. The hen's definitely got a better looking width across the shoulder and a better face on her in terms of the depth and width of mask. I think he's going to add the spots to it. The word I was looking for the very dark green was olive, of course. Slipped my mind. It's an age thing, I think, but it slipped my mind. So we might get some olives, we might get some mauves. But we're almost certainly going to get dark green and cobalts off of these, should they be successful, of course. So there we go, the new pair for cage number 4. What I'll do now is find a new hen out for cage number 6. And the new pair for cage number 6, and again the cockbird, which is the cinnamon dark green cockbird on the right, was in the cage before and bred quite nicely for us. He's got a nice width between the eyes. He's a bit fluffed up at the moment. I'm hoping he's not coming down with anything. I'm hoping it's just where we've got him out of the cage anyway. But not got massive spots. Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on the cockbird. He looks a little bit like he's under the weather, but it may just be where I've just literally caught him up out of the breeding cage. Like I say, a nice top of the head, but not much mask on him, and not massive style about him, although he did come quite high in the rundown for my cockbirds. Sorry, I am beginning to wonder about this cockbird. He doesn't look particularly great, does he? Right, I'll keep an eye on him. I will put him back in the breeding cage, but I'm going to keep an eye on him over the next couple of days. The hen is a dominant pied, and this is off a youngster of the dominant pied who was in the he's in cage number 3. This hen's got nice big spots, unlike Dad actually, the dominant pied in cage number 3 who's missing spots. Got nice big spots, very henny style head, not the biggest of birds, not got the massive amount of width between the eyes, but has a real nice style about her, a bit like Dad does as well. Yeah, I'm still a bit nervous about this cockbird, but we'll have a look, see what he's like. There's no sign of droppings, and I haven't noticed him being off colour in the breeding cage. Like I say, had been feeding all the youngsters well, so yeah. I expect the comments. I'm going to have people saying they wouldn't put this cockbird back in the breeding cage, but I will keep an eye on him, and if he looks like he's off colour, if I see any problem with droppings and things like that, I will probably, in the next episode, you'll see this hen with a different cockbird. Anyway, there we go. That is new pair for cage number 6. You can see the spots on this hen. Very nice, and she has a nice style about her, doesn't she? Just need to hope that we can breed some big birds with her style. She's obviously got bored with being in the breeding cage now, so sorry, in the show cage now. I'll see if I can get her to get back up. Right, as with the last pair, we'll pop these into the breeding cage. He looks a little bit better now, doesn't he? We'll pop these into the breeding cage, and we will, before we do that, we're obviously going to need to trim the vents. Give me a chance to inspect this cockbird a bit closer. We'll trim the vents. I did do it for the other pair, and we'll see how this pair get on. Well, I've put those birds in their relevant breeding cages, so hopefully we'll have a little bit of success with those newish pairs that we've got in there. You know, as always, touch wood. What we'll do now is we'll have a look at the first of the 5 pairs that I'm thinking about pairing up. While I go out and get those, there was a question or a couple of questions on the comments page, or the comments on the last video, and I thought I would just talk about those while future me nips out to the shed and picks up those Fifes. Anyway, the first of those questions was about egg eating, and you know, I've had the problem this season. Those of you that have been following the channel will know that it's a problem that rears its head every so often, and it was somebody asked about how to stop birds from eating the eggs. They said that they had already tried dummy eggs in there and that hadn't worked, and for me that's really the first main thing that I will do is I will try them with a marble. You know, most of you will know that. I'll put a marble in, and hopefully that when the either the cock or the hen, whichever bird is destroying the eggs, realizes it can't, hopefully at that stage it stops. If that doesn't work, then what I will try and do is move the eggs to another cage if I have the opportunity, if there's a way of doing that. My only other suggestion, which I mentioned in the comment when the person asked about it, would be if they're sure it's the cockbird, and I think the person said they thought it was the cockbird that was destroying them. If they are sure it's the cockbird, then once the hen has started laying, remove the cockbird and perhaps pop her in there for an hour whilst you're in, or pop him back in for about an hour when you're in the breeding room, or in the room, the shed with the bird, or at least until you've seen the cockbird mate with the hen, just so that, you know, hopefully you'll get some full eggs out of there, and then remove him again. And if that solves the problem, then leave him out once she's finished laying her clutch. I find normally that it's those early matings that tend to fill the eggs anyway. So yeah, you know, once you've laid 3 eggs, if he mates after that, I suspect that the following 3 eggs are going to be full anyway. So that's my only suggestion really around egg eating, other than saying, you know, don't breed with that bird. But if you're like me and you've only got a few birds, then you may not have any choice. The other question that was asked was about breeding numbers. How many do I normally breed with? Like I say, I've only got a small setup, so for me, if I manage to get 20 or 30 youngsters off in a breeding season, I'm reasonably happy with that. Mustn't forget, with it being only a small setup, I need to think about where I'm going to put them at the end of the, you know, if I breed, you know, 50 to 100 chicks, I just don't have the room in here, so I would be overcrowding the room. So that's what I think, as you know, 20 to 30, boost those numbers of the birds that I've got rid of at the end of the last breeding season, and should give me just enough to get a few youngsters out on the show bench if possible, but at least give me some young birds, keeping the stock relatively young for the next season. So that's that. Right, I think I've got those other birds in there, those other Fifes in there. Future me will have them by now anyway. So let's have a look at Fifes from breeding to bench. So we've got the Fifes in then, as I say. First pair. We have the hen on the left, and she is a heavily variegated buff, I believe. Okay, she's heavily variegated. She's got a tiny little bit of yellow on the top of the head. And this, I think, is probably my best hen in the shed, and probably my best bird, I would think. She is a very nice, neat little bird. Nice little head on her. Holds her wings really close to the body. Short tail that, again, she holds quite tightly together. You can see when she stands up, she looks quite nice. She stands reasonably high off the perch, which is always a good sign. And I am relatively sure that this is a hen, because I've not heard her singing at all. She's calling at the moment, but I've never heard her sing, and she's been in a cage on her own, so I think I would have spotted it if she was. and I am probably 99% sure that she is a buff bird looking at her. There's no intensity of colour in the green, and certainly none on the yellow on the head. So, yep, a nice little buff hen. To the right is the cockbird, and sometimes when he's in this cage, he looks really nice. Other times he sits right low on the perch, which doesn't show himself very well. If it wasn't for that, I think this might be a better bird than the hen. When he does stand up, he looks alright. Again, a nice little head, showing some break in the neck, which is what you're after. And has a nice, again, holds his wings relatively tight against the body, and has a nice little tail on him. He's a variegated yellow. I would say he was just variegated rather than heavily variegated. So a variegated yellow. So it will match the buff of the hen quite nicely. Hopefully he won't mess around too much trying to get up to get out of the cage. Has been quite settled up until now. So those of you that are Fife breeders, regular Fife breeders, let me know your thoughts on these two birds. Like I say, I think they are probably my best hen to my second best cockbird. My best cockbird, in my view, my best cockbird is a buff, so I can't put into this hen. We will have a look at him in the next episode. So as I say, these are the best two birds. I'll just try and get a close up of each of them so you can see them before I pop them back out into the Finch and Fife light. These will go into a cage next to each other with a wire divider between them, and hopefully in a little while, probably in about a month, the hen will start picking up. The cockbird will start singing a little bit more, and once I see the hen picking up, about April time, we'll be putting the nest pan in. And then as soon as we see the cockbird feeding her and that she's built her nest, we'll put them together, and hopefully that we'll have some success with this pair. So as I say, right, that is the Fife pair number one. I'm going to pop these back out into their cages now then. Well, that's the Fifes all put away. For those of you who may be wondering, I have had a chance to have a look at that cockbird, the cockbird in cage number 6. So there's no sign of any messing or any looseness around the vent, so it's perfectly dry around the vent. When I feel him, when I hold him in my hand, he has still got quite a bit of bulk to him. There's no sign that he's underweight or anything like that. And he's now, when I put him back into the breeding cage, he is now settled back in and isn't showing any of that puffiness. So I'm just wondering whether it was just where I got him out to pop him into the show cage to have a look at. Like I say, previously to that, he looked fine, and he looks fine again now. But I will keep an eye on him over the next few days just to make absolutely certain that there isn't any problem with that particular bird. Right, well, that brings us to the end of another episode. As always, if you do enjoy it, do hit the like button, but most importantly, do stay safe. Enjoy your birds.